So look, broadly speaking, in terms of what's coming out about the fire and the fury inside the Trump White House, we now have Donald Trump's lawyer sending a cease and desist order to the publisher of the book, to Steve Bannon, to Michael Wolff. Michael Wolff does not have the greatest reputation amongst journalists. And to be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure why. I just know that amongst journalists, there is a sense that sometimes he massages things. I don't know if that's true or not. Supposedly there are tapes of all the people that he interviewed. The story that is in New York Magazine is excerpted from the book. And there's, at the end of the story, there's this paragraph, which is really fascinating. The story is excerpted from Wolff's book, Fire and Fury, to be published by Henry Holt Company on January 9th. Wolff, who chronicles the administration from Election Day to this past October, conducted conversations and interviews over a period of 18 months with the president, most members of his senior staff, and many people to whom they in turn spoke. Shortly after Trump's inauguration, Wolff says he was able to take up something like a semi-permanent seat. This is the best part. This is a quote. Something like a semi-permanent seat on the couch in the West Wing. An idea encouraged by the president himself. It's not hard to imagine that Donald Trump is sitting there excited at the idea that there's a chronicler of this. Right. And Wolff would be the type of guy that he would be excited about because he would know who he is. And then this is where this is because no one was in a position to either officially or approve or formally deny such access. Wolff became more a constant interloper than an invited guest. There were no ground rules placed on his access, and he was required to make no promises about how he would report on what he witnessed. Now, I can tell you from dealing with the media myself, I mean, particularly I just went through an episode with this. When you approach a reporter, they will not say anything about what they will negotiate with you about. You need to initiate that conversation. So, in other words, if you want something on background as opposed to be quoted, you need to say that. If you want something published, I imagine that Steve Bannon said to Michael Wolff, I'm going to go on the record, but you can't publish this until I am X number of months out of the office. He could have said that. And Bannon is sophisticated enough to do this. The rest of them are total jokers. I mean, do you remember Scaramucci calling up on day 2 as press secretary? Called Ryan Lizza and didn't even know that I should say, like, hey, this is off the record. And this is the way that reporters work. If you don't say that, they're going to assume everything is on the record. And they're going to do so aggressively. And they're not going to say, hey, buddy, because we're friends, I should tell you, this should be off the record. No, you have to be explicit. I don't care if you grew up with this person and you were their best friends for 30 years. They're a reporter first. And so it sounds like, and they do have an amazing, like, because I know if this was me, I'd be just sitting there like at one point just like giggling, go, guys, like, you really letting me like hear this? This is awkward. But for someone like Michael Wolff, like they're just going to lay low and just make it seem like it's all normal. And it's like I knew somebody, an older man, a cousin of a friend of mine, who would crash weddings and bar mitzvahs to eat, to get good meals. And it's same sort of I think attitude. Like I'm just not going to be intimidated by the situation here. And
act like you belong.
And so, but what's interesting about this, and so, like I say, it's hard to know if, it's hard to know how much faith to put into this. But the big story, it seems to me, and this was my theory during the entire race, that Donald Trump did not expect, nor did he want to win the presidency. And there's evidence, like there's secondary evidence of this. Like there was reports that Michael Flynn people had told him, you shouldn't have taken that money from the Russians for that speech. And he goes, it won't be a problem if we lose. And when you contemplate the people around Donald Trump, including Donald Trump, I think they all thought they could leverage the fact that he might be president, and they know he wouldn't be, to make deals in Russia, make more money laundering deals, to make all sorts of this was a complete, we've got from July to September. You got it. This is like one of those things where they go into the supermarket with the push cart, and they're like, "You've got 22 seconds to take as much food as you can," or whatever it is, and they just dump everything into the carts. I think that's basically what was going on, and they never thought they would be held to account. So I think what's going to come up is, there may be collusion, but that was just part of we're just doing business. You do this, we do that. We're not going to win, so none of it is going to make a difference.
It's all deals.
It's all deals. And we're just building a relationship. This is the way I like to work. I like to know you. I like to do you a favor. You do me a favor. And then all of a sudden, we're laundering millions of dollars. And I think that's basically what ultimately Mueller's going to find is a series of criminal transactions where nobody involved thought the outcome would be this. It just ended up oh shit, it worked. The Russians, I think, thought we're going to cause President Clinton a huge headache, and that's the way we do. And the Trump people thought I'm going to make out like a bandit. I'm going to be very famous. I'm going to make a lot of money. I'm going to be, Javanka are going to be able to travel and get feeded in St. Petersburg. I mean, I think all of this is just. And what's going on now is Mueller's just going through and just pulling apart the strands. And I think the fact that they all thought, this is like the producers, right? It's exactly the same storyline.
Producers scenario.
Total producers scenario. It's just that, oh my God, the play's a hit. Now we've got to pay off our investors.
With a pinch of the aristocrats thrown in there as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Then Mueller came in, and then I went, the aristocrats, punchline.
Now,
after I had sex with Ivanka.
Hi, folks. Sam Seder here. We still need your help on our Patreon page. YouTube ads have come back, but not nearly as much as we had before. So if you can help us out, any little bit helps. Head over to our Patreon page right at this URL, and you'll help us keep helping you by making videos